Okay, guys, check this out. From your perspective, right? I've just added job role as well there. So the key communication touch points, guys, are either like if you're a freelancer, then you pitch for the project. If you're a job seeker, then you seek for a job role. So the first touch point is there to pitch for the project or a job role. One of the two, right? Yes, no? All right. Then comes the second component. Second component is where you understand the problem. So I'll detail each one of this out so that you have a better insight whenever you go for a job or whenever you pitch for a project, whatever. It will make you sound a lot more mature in general. So to pitch for the project or a job role, right? So as I said, either you send an application in the written format, you write some cover letter along with that, or you write a text to someone that, hey, I saw an opening in your firm, can we discuss about it? Even that text itself says a lot about who you are and how you write that text to different people. So it's like it could be a hiring manager in front of you, it could be the CEO of a startup in front of you, it could be some manager, like technical manager in front of you. There could be, or it could be a friend that you are asking to refer, like not like a close friend but a professional colleague that you're asking for help to refer, something of that sort. So all of that, right? Everyone, every person you will be communicating with in a very different manner, right? And there will be a certain way to tackle it. So you have to make sure, like if say you're asking some help from a friend who's of the same experience as you, and he was expecting that, okay, you will communicate with him in a friendly manner, and if you be too professional, then again that person might get pissed off that, okay, what the heck, man, like he just pinged me for the work, right? Or you you would have seen such situations arising many a times, I'm sure. Like if you've worked in the past, I have seen this have happening many a times, that I have to be really careful that sometimes I have made the mistake of like addressing the client as a bro, thinking that we worked for too long, and sometimes I have addressed one of the colleagues as in a professional manner, and then he felt bad, and then the client felt bad that, okay, I addressed them more like in a casual way. So there are a lot of those things that you need to keep into account. So that's the first component. Then to understand the problem, this is very, very critical. Like when you try to understand a problem, right, many a times what is going to happen is that, let's say you're a data scientist and the CEO of the company has hired you. Now under that CEO there are a lot of people who are working. Some of those people are actually more senior to you as well, because you're a data scientist, right? So you know that your role, even in the beginning of your career, might require working with senior leadership, because that is like some solid analysis and strategy that these guys are planning to make out of it, right? So you are fundamentally trying to tackle this issue at your end, that, okay, the client has asked, given you a problem. Now what happens is the CEO will not be sitting with you all along, right? What will happen? CEO will redirect you to someone else on his team, and now this person is senior to you, let's assume, or the same level as you. Now don't you think, if there is a problem for which the CEO, so in the first place one thing is confirmed, right, that the CEO has engaged you to work with his company only because there was no one in his company probably available to do this thing in the right way. Otherwise he would not have gotten people from outside. Yes, no? And now that he has brought you on board, don't you think that there's going to be a lot of behavioral issue as well with many people, that there are people in the company who are senior to you, who are the same experience level as you. They also think that they are all smart ass people, and now it becomes a matter of ego. It becomes a matter of lot of arrogance and clashes because of shared responsibilities. And that then this person would also want to make sure that the CEO feels that it is not something that they could not do, or it is not something which is like really really required to be done. So now when that happens, it puts your position in the company in jeopardy, right? Because now you have to understand the problem. CEO wants you to understand the problem, but this person with whom you will be working day in day out to understand that problem, he's actually insecure, thinking that there is some external consultant who has come in now. And if it appears that we did not have the capability to do this thing, or it appears that he has really added a lot of value, then the question comes from the CEO later on to me that, hey, what have you guys been doing? This person came from outside and solved the problem so quickly. So then that collaboration wala thing to manage those stakeholders. So sometimes there will be stakeholder who will have ego clashes or insecurities with you. Sometimes there will be pure ego clash, that the person is like very senior to you and he feels that, "Hey, who the hell is this kid," right? And it will become very difficult for you, that because you see that that person is like 10 years elder to you. Now how do you tackle him? You're going in as a consultant. Your job is to get the right data to understand the problem, but now it's becoming a issue just to communicate with this person. You're writing them mail, they're not responding many a times. They're trying to block your work. They're saying, I'm busy with 1,000 things. And you know that whatever they are, at the end of the day, your deadline is your deadline. So you need to deliver what you have to deliver, right? So those kinds of things, tackling these stakeholders, you will need to figure out a lot on that aspect. And this is not something that can completely be taught, right? It's not like what I can spoon feed you, but what I can make you aware about is that you'll not be shocked when you find that those situations coming in, right? And you will need to be focused, and you need to keep your ego at bay and understand that what's good for the project, right? What's good for solving the problem. And that attitude you'll need to keep, and you'll need to remain unaffected by these kinds of people when they come your way. Many times you'll find that on the client side, there is a very junior guy. Now that guy is very sweet to you in general. He's junior to you also. He's himself new. And then client has told you that, okay, yeah, you work with him and get this done. Now that guy, that you can't point out every issue that he's making to the client because his job will be in jeopardy. So now you handle that situation differently. So at times you'll need to train the person in front of you. You'll need to give them the hand and bring them up to your level. Sometimes you'll need to scale down to their level and avoid ego clashes. There's a lot that you need to do. So to understand the problem, there's a lot that will happen on that front. That's an important touch point. Then asking for data, right? So I think the same thing that we discussed, that there is a different team that will be giving you data. Now client has said that, yeah, they will give you the data, but then this guy is like, okay, hey, I'm busy. I'm working on something. Hey, again, I'm working on something. Or you give me your data request in this way. No, your data request is not proper in this format, in that format. So you really need to make sure that those technical aspects also you need to take care of. That, let's say there's a SQL developer, right, in the IT team, and he's extracting all the data for everyone to analyze. So then you really need to make sure that you always let this person know that you're working to make his life easy. And important thing is, you do not make him feel that his job is just getting the data. Because no matter what, everyone in the world wants to believe that their job is really critical. Yes or no? So then you need to make sure that even the person who's giving you data, he feels respected all the time. But at the same time, you also need to maintain the right authority and the affirmativeness to make sure that you get your stuff on time. And You also need to maintain that goodwill for this person, or maintain that balance where this person doesn't feel that you're not respecting him enough, because that might lead to that this person closing off to you. So so asking for data, right, that again is like very critical, and that is a technical angle as well. Because when you ask for data, right, these guys get very irritated, because what happens is we start analyzing, we don't know the entire business, we ask for some data. Then again we come back, we're like, okay, we go and we show something to client, and client was like, hey, why are you not using this variable? You're like, okay, where is that variable? Then it's like, okay, you get it from that guy. Then you again go to that guy, you sit with him and say, hey, tell me this data, where is this data, how can I get this data? Then this guy tells you again you come back, again there is a problem. So there's a lot of back and forth. So you need to make sure that whenever you do ask for the data, and this thing is called a data request in a very formal way, right? It's technically it's called a data request. So you have to be very careful while framing a data request. And you also always need to take into account that by take the data, whatever you have, like whatever you can take in one go. Even if there's something extra, take it. Because again, when you go back to that guy, that guy is going to get irritated. And these data extraction guys, they'll get very judgmental that, okay, hey, this guy never comes back with the right request, and then he's always messing around with the requirements and wasting a lot of time. So you understand all of these things, right? That you have to make sure to even tackle that from a communication point of view, that what data request are you giving out, and how much effort have you actually put into make sure that you're not giving more than a couple of iterations of data request to that guy, because otherwise it is really going to scale up, and it is really going to like escalate to the client senior leadership that, hey, this guy, I can't just keep giving him data again and again and again. He's coming up with a very responsible way to ask data, and he's not taking it seriously. Did you guys think about these detailing to the communication aspect? Monisha, have you worked before this session ever? I'm actually not sure what exactly do you do. Okay, so are you a student? Okay, which college you from? Monisha, can you hear me? Okay, great. So all of these aspects, guys, right? You really need to make sure that you have the right, what should I say, the right balance at all times. And of course, like you, while doing all of this, you still want to be a good human being, right? You don't want to be an asshole who is creating problems for everyone here and there, and then just using his power or whatever his talent to make life difficult for people. All right. So that is what asking for data step is. And then, so you have pitched for the project, you got the job, then you understood the problem or your role, whatever you needed to do. Then it came to asking for data. After that comes coordinating across stakeholders and team members. So now what happens? Now you have the data, you start analyzing the data. You might be working in a team, you might be working with a manager who is managing you in your initial years of career. He has directed you to perform some analysis or do some EDA on the data. Now you will be interacting like day in, day out with some team members, managers, maybe a couple of people on some other teams who are helping you understand that particular business or function or domain, um, all of that basically. And all this coordination that you do, that is going to get again more and more critical, right? Because you're asking like someone, let's say you're two people, two analysts working. Now one guy is basically saying that, hey, I will create all the features for this particular data set or for this particular problem. Why don't you clean the entire data? So now you have to really ensure that, this is like collaborative working. It's not something that you're alone working on. So now the way you do the work, the way you write your codes, and the way you clean the data, the way you represent everything from your end, it has to be in a way that the other guy can consume it directly, right? And then, of course, the managing all the various team members and various stakeholders, all of that is going to be very critical. Then of course, sharing insights and analysis is there, and I think you already know about that part. Your analysis should be presented in a way that people understand it, and only give them the necessary details. Don't give basic general communication skills, basically. And then getting buy-in from various stakeholders, right? So that's another crazy thing, because many a times your work gives out insights which are very difficult for people to handle, right? Because you might be saying that, hey, this team's work is not good enough, and that's the reason for us losing acquired customers or us having low sales. So now that team is never going to, the manager for that team is never going to be comfortable with your analysis. He will not want to uh, have that analysis public to senior leadership, right? So now how do you handle that? That will again become like a big challenge, and that's something that you need to solve for. And all of these things combiningly, like to get buy-in from various stakeholders for approval of your insights and implementation. So like from pitching till the buy-in for your insights, all of these things are basically